what's up? Hope you're alright. This is Miguel, and you're watching Tito Talks, non-life insurance discussions. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my videos. If this is your first time watching Tito Talks non-life insurance discussions is a channel that is all about making non-life insurance discussions topics easy to understand for both agents and clients. So if you are an agent working the field right now, more power to you. And if you need some help trying to explain particular concepts to your customers, this is the right place to be. Or if you are a customer trying to figure out your policy on your own, welcome to the channel. I hope you find your explanations here. And we've got something really, really good for you guys today as we are talking about three very important changes that your insurer needs to know whenever these changes occur. And that may sound like a little bit of an inconvenience to you, especially customers right now, especially in this time of a pandemic. But nonetheless, these changes still apply, and these changes are even more important to uphold right now because they could have dire consequences, lalong-lalo na po when it comes to filing claims when the worst actually happens. Now, what do we mean when we say these types of changes, these types of events that take place? I'm not talking about accidents. I'm not talking about claims. I'm not even talking about catastrophic incidents that the insurance needs to fulfill based on their agreement with you. No, 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 no. I'm not talking about these types of changes. I'm talking about some minor changes, but very, very important changes that take place during your ownership of the vehicle and your partnership with the company via your policy. What sorts of changes are they that the insurance company needs to know? Well, when I probably give you number one, it'll give you a general idea of what we're talking about. And number one would be in a change of ownership. And that's point number one. When you have a change of ownership with regards to the vehicle, yes, the insurance company is supposed to know. And this is probably one of the biggest changes you could experience while you own a car because transfer of ownership will be executed in between you, the previous owner, and the new owner, whomever you'll be selling your car to in the future if that ever should happen. And it does happen on a regular basis. As we all know, in the Philippine car industry today, auto loans are almost always the way to go. And sometimes, due to the difficulty of life, due to the difficulty of circumstances, especially in today's society, people may end up thinking of their vehicles as a liability. Na they keep on paying on a monthly basis, but they don't get to go out, they don't get to drive that much because travel is restricted still in most areas. So they may tend to sell their vehicle to someone else and to free up and to obtain more financial assistance for themselves. While this is okay and this is a perfectly legal move and this is perfectly fine to do, you can sell your vehicle in the middle of a policy, even if, especially if it's insured. You can do that. No questions asked naman po. That's perfectly fine. The thing is, you have to inform the insurer as well that you are going to be selling the vehicle and it is no longer going to be your property. It's going to belong to someone else, and it's very, very important. While the paperwork may be completed via the government standards, via the LTO standards, yung rehistro, um, yung ORCR, other stuff like that, even if these things transfer automatically, the insurance policy does not update automatically, and the insurance deserves to know if you're selling the vehicle, if you're no longer going to be owning the vehicle. Because one of the most important things being taught to agents and trainers like me when it comes to insurance is that insurance policies are not attached to the vehicle, but they are attached to the owner. So even if the vehicle changes ownership, the policy still stays with you. And in that case, when the policy still stays with you, but you don't own the vehicle anymore, your policy then becomes void. It's no longer honored. Because even if you file a claim and you don't own the vehicle anymore, the insurance company may not be able to help you because you've lost something known as insurable interest in the vehicle. Now, yes, this is a new term. What the hell is insurable interest? Well, for starters, insurable interest refers to the economic relationship between you and a particular asset. Ala, ano naman yan? Well, when we say an economic relationship, it's really simple. When something happens to the said asset, you are affected in a certain way. Financially, and economically, to be specific. So let's say if you own a vehicle and it's your vehicle, you have insurable interest in that particular vehicle. No questions asked. While you own the vehicle and while the vehicle is still under your ownership, if something does happen to the vehicle and it requires repairs, restorations, replacement parts, servicing, maintenance, you will be affected economically. Bakit po? Kasi po ikaw yung gagastos. It's your car. It's your responsibility. So, you have to pay for the repairs, you have to pay for the maintenance, you have to pay for this and that, so on and so forth. If it affects the vehicle, it affects you as well. And that is what we mean when we say insurable um, interest. You are affected economically when this particular asset experiences losses, goes through losses, and is exposed to various perils. Now, when you sell the vehicle to someone else, what automatically transfers is your insurable interest. Because someone else owns the vehicle, whatever happens to that vehicle is of no more interest to you as the previous owner. Why? Because you've already been paid for if you sold the vehicle. Sinagot ka na ng pinagbentahan mo. The economic relationship in between you and the vehicle now dissolves, and a new economic relationship is established between the vehicle and its new owner. Kapag may nangyari po sa sasakyan na iyan, ibang tao na ang mamomroblema. It's the new owner. However, the insurance policy does not recognize that until you let them know, until you initiate the change. What's gonna happen pag nag-file ng claim ang isang lumang may-ari pero hindi na niya pagmamay-ari ang vehicle? It's really simple. The claim gets denied because one of the first things claimsmen establish when processing claims is to check to see if you're still the valid owner of the vehicle. They'll ask you for documents that support your ownership of the vehicle, ORCR, vehicle registration, stuff like that, in order to provide evidence that you, without a doubt, are still the owner of the vehicle. Now, if these documents are in someone else's name, tough luck. Your insurance policy becomes a useless stack of papers unless you inform the insurance company that the vehicle has a new owner. One of two things could happen at this point. Either number one, the insurance company will amend the policy so that the insurance now reflects the name of the new owner, or the insurance policy will cancel your current standing policy and will refund you based on the amount of time you've already consumed with the policy and will issue on out a new policy with regards to the owner. Why is this particular step important and why is it important for you as a vehicle owner? This is because you can choose to include the cost of insurance with the vehicle when you sell it. If you don't include the cost of the insurance with the vehicle when you sell it, most likely the insurance company will have to issue out a new policy for the new owner, which means they'd have to pay premiums for that policy as well. Whereas if they simply transfer the policy into another person's name, then the new owner doesn't have to pay a new premium up until the time that that particular policy, your old policy, actually ends or actually completes its 1-year run, so to speak. Very, very important to note. And that's number one, change in ownership. The number two type of change that you need to let your insurers know is, of course, a change in usage. Now, what do I mean change in usage? No, it's no longer a change in ownership. You still own the vehicle. It's still your property. You're not letting go of it. It's still under your wing. You still have an economic relationship with it. However, your intended usage for the vehicle now changes. What? Am I going to fly the vehicle? Am I going to run it through water? What do you mean usage? When we say change in usage, it's in the usage or the exposure that you're putting the vehicle through. You've got certain types of exposures po kasi when it comes to owning a vehicle. The most common type po kasi, and there are several kinds, we're not going to go through all of them, don't worry. The most common type of ownership or usage that you can have with the vehicle is a private ownership. This is wherein you use the vehicle for personal purposes, for pleasure, going to work, going to office, going out, namamasyal, or even going to do the groceries. If it's for your personal or for pleasure, then yes, it is a private usage. However, to provide you better context, let me give you an example. What if nagipit ka na sa panahon at ginawa mong Grab yung sasakyan? That's a very interesting question, and it happens to the best of us. And it does happen quite frequently in the middle of the ownership of the vehicle while they're paying off their mortgage. The owner discovered that they could no longer support the ownership of the vehicle. They would have to resort to using the vehicle as a Grab or a TNVS type of unit so that they could support their income, so that they could still pay for the vehicle in the middle of owning the vehicle. And when that happens, the insurance company has to know. Why? Because, and you may not like this, you will be incurring additional premiums. Bakit kako? This is because the vehicle will undergo or will be exposed to new amounts of perils. Ang exposure po ng vehicle, magbabago po yan. Kung dati po, private vehicle, your usage, your exposure is very, very predictable. Minimum po ang exposure. Bahay, office, grocery, mall, bahay, office, grocery, mall. It's a very, very predictable pattern. And on top of that, the people riding the car, the people using the car are very, very predictable as well. It could only be you, your wife, your children, or your friends. Very, very small circle lang po. However, pag ginawa na kayang Grab ang isang vehicle or sinali po sa TNVS ang isang vehicle, can you still say the same thing? I don't think so. The exposures will change. Iba-iba na yung gumagamit. Kung sino-sino na yung sumasakay. Kung saan-saan pa pinupunta ang sasakyan. And therefore, the insurance would need to adjust your vehicle. Although it is still insurable, it is now exposed to a bigger amount of risks. The computation for the risk now changes and they would need a different type of premium. Now, what if I don't want to pay the premium? Can I just keep it like that? I don't want to tell the insurance company. I don't want to pay additional premiums. Well, you may not have a say in the matter because even if you don't tell the insurance company when something like this happens and an accident does happen and you need to file a claim, chances are your claim's gonna be denied because you did not disclose the change in usage. Because this is one of the things that an insurance company's claims team will try to determine, was the vehicle being used for personal purposes? Was it being used for TNVS services? Was it being used for commercial services? Does this meet or does this align with the type of policy that you have as a customer? And that's one of the questions that they try to answer. Kapag may mismatch, wala pong claim. So you could be left out. Luging-lugi ka po. So in order to maintain your coverage, in order to maintain the trust between you and the insurance company, they have to know that the change in usage has been declared. All right? Now, and then finally, point number 3, you also have to inform the company if in case there is a change in value of the vehicle. Yes. What do I mean change in value? Do I throw money inside the car? Not exactly money, but in a sense, it works in the same way. You don't put money inside the car, but you spend money on the car. Like how? Well, for those of you who are into the customization industry or who like, for those of you who like pimping up your rides, this is where it applies. Yes, if in case you add spoilers to your vehicle, you add certain accessories, certain gadgets, you change your sound system, you change the way your door works from a usual opening door, a door opening sideways, you want your door to open upwards, just like those high-tech cars. Yep, you can do those things. Yep, no one's stopping you from doing those things. But if something happens to your car, upgrades included, are your upgrades covered by the insurance policy? And it's very, very easy to determine. Yes, you can have these upgrades covered. What if I don't want to cover my upgrades? I'm okay with having my upgrades like that. Is that okay? Yes, your policy will still stand. However, when the time comes that you have to file a claim, these upgrades, because they have not been declared, they have not been included, they have not been paid for in terms of premium, no, the insurance company will not indemnify your expenses towards those. So if you want them covered, you let the insurance company know. All right. And with that being said, let's wrap up our 3 points for today. 3 things that you need to let your insurer know every time they happen. 1, change of ownership if you sell the vehicle. Number 2, change in usage. If you're shifting from a private type vehicle to a TNVS type or for a commercial type vehicle, yep, the insurance company has to know. And finally, a change in value of the vehicle. You modify the vehicle. You add additional features. You change particular functions, mechanisms of the vehicle. These change the value of the vehicle. And yes, if you want to have these things covered, the insurance company has to know. All right, with that being said, that wraps up our discussion for today. Thank you so much for spending a couple of minutes, quarter of an hour actually, with us. Once again, this is Miguel from Tito Talk saying, are you looking to buy insurance? Are you looking to sell insurance? Usap po tayo, leave me a DM. Please let me know if you've got some insurance requirements. I can probably help you out. Also, if you're looking to sell insurance, start a career selling non-life insurance, please get in touch with me as well. I can hook you up with a good career in non-life insurance. And once again, please leave a like and a comment on our videos. I would love to hear from you. If there are any questions or particular topics you want me to do, be more than happy to answer your concerns. Please leave a message. And with that being said, once again, dami kong once again, no? Once again, this is Miguel from Tito Talks Non-Life Insurance Discussion saying I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.